In the serene town of Evergreen Hills, nestled amidst towering pine trees and tranquil mountain views, lived Emily Harper. Emily had recently inherited a charming mountain house from her grandparents, a cozy retreat she cherished deeply. The house, with its rustic wooden beams and stone fireplace, was her sanctuary away from the bustling city life. Evergreen Hills was governed by a homeowners association, led by a woman named Linda Matthews. Linda was known for her meticulous attention to detail and strict enforcement of HOA rules. She believed in maintaining uniformity and order within the community, often imposing regulations that some residents found overly restrictive. One crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves carpeted the ground, Emily received an unexpected visit from Linda. Dressed in her usual tailored suit, Linda exuded an air of authority. Emily welcomed her in, curious about the purpose of her visit. After some polite conversation, Linda presented her proposal. The HOA was planning to host a series of community events to promote unity among residents. However, they lacked a suitable venue. Linda suggested that Emily's mountain house, with its spacious living area and picturesque surroundings, would be the perfect location. Specifically, she requested the use of one room in Emily's house for these events over the next few months. Emily was taken aback. Her home was her private space, a personal haven filled with memories of her grandparents. The thought of strangers frequenting her home unsettled her. She politely declined Linda's request, explaining her desire to keep her home private. Linda's demeanor shifted subtly, her smile tightening. She reminded Emily of the HOA's mission to foster community spirit and hinted at the benefits of cooperation. Despite the subtle pressure, Emily remained firm in her decision. A few days later, Emily received a formal letter from the HOA. To her shock, it stated that her refusal to allow the use of her room was a violation of community guidelines promoting neighborly cooperation. The letter further mentioned that legal action would be taken if she did not comply. Feeling both perplexed and anxious, Emily decided to seek legal counsel. She contacted Jack Thompson, a reputable attorney known for handling HOA disputes. Jack assured her that homeowners had rights and that the HOA's demands seemed overreaching. He agreed to represent her, setting the stage for a legal battle that would challenge the boundaries of HOA authority and individual property rights. Emily sat at her kitchen table, the letter from the HOA spread out before her. The formal tone and legal jargon made her uneasy. She had always believed that her home was her sanctuary, a place where she could find peace and solitude. Now it felt as though that sanctuary was under siege. Jack Thompson, her attorney, was a tall man in his early 40s with a reputation for being both tenacious and fair. He had dealt with numerous HOA disputes over the years and understood the complexities involved. After reviewing the letter, Jack leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "Emily," he began, "HOAs have certain powers, but they are not absolute. They can't force you to open your private residence for community events without your consent. This demand oversteps their authority." Relieved by his words, Emily nodded. "I want to resolve this amicably, but I also want to protect my rights." Jack smiled reassuringly. "That's exactly what we'll do. I'll draft a response to the HOA, outlining your position and citing the relevant laws that protect your property rights. We'll request a meeting to discuss this matter further." Over the next few days, Jack prepared the response, emphasizing that while Emily valued community engagement, her home was private property, and she had the right to decide how it was used. He referenced legal precedents where HOAs had overreached and faced legal repercussions. The letter was firm but respectful, aiming to open a dialogue rather than escalate the conflict. The HOA's reply came swiftly, inviting Emily and Jack to a mediation session. Mediation was a common step in such disputes, offering a platform for both parties to express their concerns and seek a mutually agreeable solution. The mediation was scheduled for the following week at the community center. Emily felt a mix of anxiety and determination as the day approached. She believed in standing up for her rights, but hoped to maintain a cordial relationship with her neighbors. On the day of the mediation, Emily and Jack arrived early. The community center was a modest building with large windows overlooking the mountains, a reminder of the beauty that had drawn Emily to Evergreen Hills. Linda Matthews entered shortly after, accompanied by the HOA's legal counsel, Mark Reynolds. Linda's demeanor was composed, but there was a tension in her eyes that hadn't been there before. The mediator, a neutral third party named Sarah Collins, greeted everyone warmly and outlined the process. Each side would have the opportunity to present their perspective, and the goal was to reach a resolution that respected both the HOA's objectives and Emily's rights as a homeowner. Linda spoke first, reiterating the HOA's mission to foster community spirit and the need for a suitable venue for upcoming events. She emphasized that using Emily's home would benefit the entire community and set a precedent for neighborly cooperation. Jack responded on Emily's behalf, acknowledging the HOA's intentions but highlighting the importance of individual property rights. He pointed out that compelling a homeowner to use their private residence for public events without consent was unreasonable and legally questionable. Sarah listened attentively, occasionally asking clarifying questions. After both sides had presented their arguments, she proposed exploring alternative solutions that could satisfy the HOA's needs without infringing on Emily's privacy. The discussion shifted towards identifying other potential venues within the community. Suggestions included the local library, a nearby park pavilion, and even rotating events among willing homeowners. The atmosphere gradually became more collaborative as both parties considered these alternatives. After several hours of discussion, an agreement was reached. The HOA would utilize the park pavilion for their events, and Emily offered to assist in organizing and promoting them, demonstrating her commitment to community engagement without compromising her privacy. The mediation concluded on a positive note, with both sides expressing appreciation for the constructive dialogue. Emily felt a sense of relief and satisfaction. She had stood her ground while also contributing to a solution that benefited the community. As she and Jack walked out of the community center, the crisp mountain air filled her lungs, and the tension that had weighed on her shoulders lifted. The path ahead seemed clearer now, a testament to the power of communication and standing up for one's rights. In the weeks following the mediation, a fragile peace settled over Evergreen Hills. Emily continued to enjoy her mountain retreat, and the HOA proceeded with their events at the park pavilion. However, beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Linda Matthews, the HOA president, found it challenging to accept the outcome of the mediation. She believed that Emily's refusal set a precedent that could undermine the HOA's authority. Determined to reassert control, Linda began scrutinizing Emily's property for any potential violations of the community's covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC and Rs. One afternoon, Emily received a notice from the HOA citing her for several alleged violations. Unauthorized exterior paint color. The notice claimed that the shade of Emily's house did not conform to the approved color palette. Improper landscaping. Her choice of plants was purportedly inconsistent with community guidelines. Unapproved outdoor furniture. The HOA objected to the style of chairs on her porch. Each violation came with a fine and a directive to correct the issues promptly. Emily was bewildered. The house's color had remained unchanged since her grandparents owned it, and the landscaping had always been well maintained. The outdoor furniture was simple and inoffensive. It seemed evident that these violations were a form of retaliation. She contacted Jack Thompson to discuss the situation. After reviewing the notices, Jack remarked, "This appears to be a classic case of selective enforcement. HOAs must apply their rules uniformly. Targeting a specific homeowner is unlawful." Jack advised Emily to document everything meticulously. They photographed her property, gathered historical records showing the long-standing appearance of the house, and noted similar features in other homes that had not been cited for violations. Jack sent a formal letter to the HOA, challenging the validity of the alleged violations and requesting a meeting to resolve the matter. The HOA responded with a terse message, insisting that the violations stood and that fines would accrue until compliance was achieved. Recognizing that the HOA was unwilling to engage in constructive dialogue, Jack filed a complaint with the state's Department of Consumer Affairs, which oversees homeowner associations. He also prepared to file a lawsuit alleging harassment and selective enforcement. News of the dispute spread throughout Evergreen Hills. Some residents sympathized with Emily, recalling instances where the HOA had overstepped its bounds. Others sided with Linda, believing that strict enforcement of rules maintained property values. The community became divided, with neighbors taking sides in the escalating conflict. As the legal proceedings commenced, Emily felt the weight of the situation bearing down on her. Her once peaceful haven had become a battleground, yet she remained resolute, determined to stand up against what she perceived as an abuse of power. The case attracted media attention, highlighting the broader issue of HOA overreach. Discussions about homeowners' rights versus the authority of associations became a topic of public interest. Emily's situation resonated with many who had faced similar challenges, sparking debates on social media and in local news outlets. Amidst the turmoil, Emily found solace in the support of friends, family, and neighbors who believed in her cause. She also drew strength from the memory of her grandparents who had cherished the mountain house and instilled in her the values of integrity and resilience. As the court date approached, both sides prepared their arguments. The outcome would not only impact Emily, but also set a precedent for how HOAs could exercise their authority in the future. The stakes were high, and the community awaited the resolution with bated breath. The day of the trial arrived, and the courtroom buzzed with anticipation. Emily, accompanied by Jack Thompson, entered the room, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. Across the aisle sat Linda Matthews and the HOA's legal counsel, Mark Reynolds. The judge, a stern woman in her 50s named Judge Harper, called the court to order. The case was introduced. Emily Harper versus the Evergreen Hills Homeowners Association, alleging selective enforcement and harassment. Jack began by presenting evidence of the HOA's inconsistent enforcement of rules. He showcased photographs of other properties with similar features to Emily's, houses painted in various shades, diverse landscaping choices, and assorted outdoor furniture, all without receiving violation notices. This demonstrated a pattern of selective enforcement, suggesting that the HOA targeted Emily unjustly. Furthermore, Jack highlighted the sequence of events leading up to the violations. He argued that the citations were issued shortly after Emily declined the HOA's request to use her home for community events, implying retaliation. He referenced legal precedents where HOAs had faced consequences for such actions, emphasizing that selective enforcement undermines the principles of fairness and equality within a community. Mark Reynolds countered by asserting that the HOA was merely upholding community standards. He argued that any perceived inconsistencies in enforcement were coincidental and not indicative of targeting. However, he struggled to provide concrete examples of other homeowners receiving similar violations for comparable infractions. Witnesses were called to testify. Several neighbors spoke on Emily's behalf, attesting to the well-maintained condition of her property and expressing concerns about the HOA's recent actions. Some recounted their own experiences with the HOA, mentioning a lack of enforcement on certain issues while being stringent on others. Linda Matthews took the stand, maintaining that the HOA's actions were in the community's best interest. However, under cross-examination, she struggled to explain why similar properties had not been cited, weakening the HOA's position. After deliberations, Judge Harper delivered her verdict. She acknowledged the importance of HOAs in maintaining community standards, but emphasized that their power must be exercised fairly and consistently. She found that the Evergreen Hills HOA had engaged in selective enforcement and ruled in favor of Emily. The violations and associated fines were dismissed, and the HOA was ordered to cover Emily's legal expenses. The courtroom erupted in murmurs as the decision was announced. Emily felt a wave of relief wash over her. Justice had prevailed, affirming her rights as a homeowner and sending a clear message about the limits of HOA authority. The courtroom's decision in favor of Emily sent ripples throughout the Evergreen Hills community. Neighbors gathered in small groups, discussing the implications of the verdict and what it meant for the future of their homeowners association, HOA. Some residents felt a renewed sense of empowerment, realizing that they had rights and could challenge the HOA when it overstepped its boundaries. Others were concerned about potential chaos, fearing that without strict enforcement, property values might decline and the neighborhood's aesthetic appeal could suffer. Linda Matthews, the HOA president, faced mounting criticism. Some board members questioned her leadership and the aggressive stance she had taken against Emily. Rumors circulated that a motion was being prepared to call for her resignation. Emily, meanwhile, became an inadvertent community figurehead. Neighbors she had never spoken to before approached her, sharing their own grievances and seeking advice. While she appreciated the support, Emily was cautious not to become the face of an anti-HOA movement. She believed in the importance of the association, but felt it needed to operate with fairness and transparency. Recognizing the need for change, a group of homeowners organized a special meeting to discuss the future of the HOA. The turnout was larger than expected, with residents filling the community center to capacity. At the meeting, emotions ran high. Some residents expressed their frustrations over past enforcement actions, while others defended the HOA's role in maintaining community standards. Linda attempted to justify her actions, but the overwhelming sentiment was that the HOA needed reform. After hours of debate, several key decisions were made. Formation of an oversight committee. A committee comprising diverse community members would be established to review HOA decisions and ensure fair enforcement of rules. Revision of HOA guidelines. The community agreed to revisit and revise the existing covenants, conditions, and restrictions CC and Rs to reflect the current values and desires of the residents. Leadership elections. A motion was passed to hold early elections for HOA board positions, allowing for new leadership that better represented the community's interests. These changes marked a turning point for Evergreen Hills. The community's willingness to come together and address the issues highlighted by Emily's case demonstrated a commitment to unity and progress. Emily felt a sense of relief and hope. While the ordeal had been challenging, it sparked necessary conversations and actions that would lead to a more inclusive and fair community environment. In the months following the court's decision, Evergreen Hills underwent a significant transformation. The establishment of the Oversight Committee brought a new level of transparency and accountability to the Homeowners Association, HOA. Comprising residents from diverse backgrounds, the committee ensured that all HOA actions were fair and consistent. One of the committee's first tasks was to revise the community's covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC and RS. Through town hall meetings and surveys, residents voiced their opinions on various regulations, leading to updates that reflected the community's current values and needs. This collaborative approach fostered a sense of ownership and unity among homeowners. The early elections resulted in a more representative HOA board. Newly elected members prioritized open communication, regularly updating residents on decisions and encouraging feedback. This shift in leadership restored trust and reinforced the importance of serving the community's best interests. Emily Harper's experience became a catalyst for positive change, highlighting the significance of standing up for one's rights while promoting community harmony. Her journey underscored the balance between individual freedoms and collective responsibilities, inspiring other communities facing similar challenges. With the Homeowners Association, HOA, restructured, and the community's covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC&Rs, updated, Evergreen Hills embarked on a path of renewed unity and cooperation. The changes not only fostered a more inclusive environment, but also encouraged residents to take an active role in shaping their neighborhood's future. Emily Harper, whose ordeal had sparked these transformations, found herself at the heart of this revitalized community spirit. Neighbors frequently sought her insights on community matters, valuing her experience and perspective. Recognizing the importance of balanced leadership, Emily decided to run for a position on the newly formed HOA board. Her campaign focused on transparency, fairness, and fostering a sense of belonging among all residents. Emily emphasized the need for the HOA to serve as a supportive body rather than an authoritative one, ensuring that all voices were heard and respected. Her message resonated with many, leading to her election as vice president of the HOA. In her new role, Emily collaborated closely with fellow board members to implement initiatives that promoted community engagement. They organized monthly gatherings, workshops on home maintenance, and volunteer programs to assist neighbors in need. These efforts strengthened bonds among residents and reinforced the idea that Evergreen Hills was more than just a collection of houses. It was a community. The positive changes also had a ripple effect on property values. Prospective homeowners were drawn to the neighborhood's harmonious atmosphere and active community involvement. Real estate agents highlighted the reformed HOA as a selling point, noting its commitment to fairness and resident welfare. Emily's journey from a homeowner defending her rights to a community leader exemplified the power of resilience and constructive action. Her story became an inspiration, not just within Evergreen Hills, but also in neighboring communities facing similar challenges. As the seasons changed and years passed, Evergreen Hills flourished. The trees stood taller, the gardens bloomed brighter, and the laughter of children echoed through the streets. The neighborhood had transformed into a place where rules existed to support, not suppress, where leadership meant service, not control, and where every resident felt at home. As Emily settled into her role as vice president of the newly reformed Homeowners Association, HOA, she became privy to the organization's internal operations. While reviewing past records, she noticed discrepancies in financial statements and meeting minutes from the previous administration. One particular document stood out: a contract for landscaping services that seemed exorbitantly priced compared to similar services in the area. The contractor's name was unfamiliar, and there was no record of a bidding process. Emily's curiosity was piqued, prompting her to delve deeper into the association's financial dealings. She discovered that the former HOA president, Linda Matthews, had unilaterally approved several contracts without board consensus. These contracts were awarded to companies with connections to Linda's acquaintances, raising concerns about potential conflicts of interest. Additionally, funds allocated for community improvements were unaccounted for, and maintenance projects remained incomplete despite allocated budgets. Emily brought these findings to the attention of the Oversight Committee. The committee initiated a formal audit of the HOA's finances, hiring an independent auditor to ensure impartiality. The audit confirmed Emily's suspicions. Funds had been mismanaged, and there were instances of possible embezzlement. The community was informed of these developments during a special meeting. Residents expressed shock and disappointment, feeling betrayed by the previous leadership. The new board assured homeowners that corrective measures would be implemented to prevent future misconduct. Legal action was pursued against Linda Matthews and any accomplices involved in the financial improprieties. The community's commitment to transparency and accountability was reinforced, leading to the establishment of stricter financial oversight protocols. Emily's dedication to uncovering the truth not only rectified past wrongs, but also strengthened the community's trust in the HOA. Evergreen Hills emerged more united, with residents actively participating in decision-making processes to ensure a prosperous and harmonious living environment. The discovery of financial misconduct within the Evergreen Hills Homeowners Association, HOA, led to swift legal action against former President Linda Matthews and her associates. The community, once marred by distrust, embarked on a journey toward justice and reconciliation. The evidence gathered by Emily Harper and the Oversight Committee prompted local authorities to initiate a thorough investigation. Linda Matthews was charged with embezzlement and fraud, accused of misappropriating HOA funds for personal gain. The prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing how Linda exploited her position to authorize inflated contracts and siphon money into accounts controlled by her and her accomplices. During the trial, testimonies from board members and residents highlighted the extent of the betrayal. The defense attempted to downplay the allegations, but the overwhelming evidence led to a guilty verdict. Linda was sentenced to several years in prison, and restitution measures were implemented to recover the stolen funds. The scandal left the community shaken, but it also served as a catalyst for positive change. Residents became more engaged in HOA affairs, attending meetings and participating in decision-making processes. The new board prioritized transparency, regularly publishing financial reports and updates on community projects. To rebuild trust, the HOA organized community events, fostering unity and open communication. Workshops on financial literacy and governance educated homeowners about their rights and responsibilities, empowering them to hold the board accountable. Emily's leadership during this tumultuous period earned her widespread respect. She continued to advocate for ethical practices and encouraged neighbors to collaborate in maintaining the community's well-being. Through collective effort and a commitment to integrity, Evergreen Hills transformed adversity into an opportunity for growth, emerging as a stronger, more connected community. In the wake of the financial misconduct uncovered within the Evergreen Hills Homeowners Association, HOA, the community recognized the necessity of establishing robust safeguards to prevent future fraudulent activities. The newly elected board, led by Emily Harper, prioritized the implementation of comprehensive measures to ensure financial transparency and protect the community's assets. Establishing financial controls. The board introduced a series of financial controls designed to create a system of checks and balances, dual signatures for transactions. All financial transactions required the signatures of at least 2 board members, minimizing the risk of unauthorized expenditures. Regular financial audits. The HOA committed to conducting annual independent audits to verify the accuracy of financial records and identify any irregularities promptly. Transparent financial reporting. Detailed financial statements were made accessible to all homeowners, fostering an environment of openness and accountability. Enhancing board accountability. To prevent conflicts of interest and promote ethical governance, the board implemented the following policies. Conflict of interest declarations. Board members were required to disclose any personal or financial interests related to HOA contracts or decisions, ensuring impartiality. Board member training. Mandatory training sessions on fiduciary responsibilities and ethical standards were instituted for all board members. Encouraging community involvement. Recognizing the importance of homeowner engagement in safeguarding the community, the board took steps to involve residents in HOA affairs. Open board meetings. Meetings were made accessible to all residents, encouraging participation and input on community matters. Financial Oversight Committee. A committee comprising volunteer homeowners was established to review financial reports and provide recommendations, adding an extra layer of oversight. Implementing technological solutions. To streamline financial management and enhance security, the HOA adopted modern technological tools. Accounting software. Secure accounting software was implemented to maintain accurate records and facilitate real-time monitoring of financial transactions. Online payment systems. Homeowners were given the option to make dues payments through a secure online portal, reducing the handling of cash and checks. By instituting these measures, Evergreen Hills aimed to rebuild trust and ensure the long-term financial health of the community. The proactive approach served as a model for other HOAs, demonstrating the effectiveness of transparency, accountability, and community involvement in preventing fraud. With the Homeowners Association, HOA, restructured and robust safeguards in place, Evergreen Hills experienced a renewed sense of unity. The community recognized the importance of fostering strong relationships among neighbors to prevent future conflicts and ensure a harmonious living environment. Community engagement initiatives. The new HOA board, led by Emily Harper, introduced several initiatives to promote engagement and collaboration. Monthly social events. Residents gathered for activities like potlucks, game nights, and outdoor movie screenings, providing opportunities to build friendships and strengthen community ties. Volunteer programs. Community members participated in neighborhood beautification projects, such as planting gardens and maintaining common areas, fostering a sense of pride and ownership. Workshops and seminars, educational sessions on topics like home maintenance, financial planning, and personal development empowered residents with valuable skills and knowledge. Open communication channels. To maintain transparency and trust, the HOA established multiple platforms for open communication. Community newsletter. A monthly publication highlighted upcoming events, board decisions, and resident achievements, keeping everyone informed and connected. Online forums. A community website and social media groups allowed residents to discuss concerns, share ideas, and collaborate on projects in real time. Suggestion boxes. Placed in common areas, these boxes encouraged residents to provide feedback and propose improvements anonymously. Conflict resolution mechanisms. Understanding that disputes may still arise, the HOA implemented fair and efficient resolution processes. Mediation services. Trained mediators facilitated discussions between conflicting parties, aiming for amicable solutions without escalating tensions.
Clear guidelines. Well-defined community guidelines and bylaws ensured that all residents understood their rights and responsibilities, reducing misunderstandings. Responsive leadership. The HOA board remained accessible and attentive to residents' concerns, addressing issues promptly to prevent escalation. Through these efforts, Evergreen Hills transformed into a vibrant, cohesive community where residents felt valued and connected. The emphasis on engagement, communication, and fair conflict resolution not only enhanced the quality of life, but also ensured the neighborhood's continued growth and prosperity. With the legal battles behind them and the Homeowners Association, HOA reformed. Evergreen Hills entered a period of renewal and growth. The community's resilience had transformed challenges into opportunities, fostering a stronger, more connected neighborhood. Rebuilding trust. The new HOA leadership prioritized transparency and inclusivity. Regular town hall meetings encouraged open dialogue, allowing residents to voice concerns and contribute ideas. This collaborative approach rebuilt trust and ensured that decisions reflected the community's collective vision. Enhancing community spaces. Investments in communal areas revitalized the neighborhood. Parks were upgraded with modern playgrounds and picnic spots, promoting outdoor activities and social gatherings. A community garden initiative flourished, providing residents with space to cultivate plants and foster connections. Celebrating diversity. Recognizing the rich tapestry of backgrounds within Evergreen Hills, cultural festivals and events became regular occurrences. These celebrations honored various traditions, deepening mutual respect and understanding among neighbors. Sustaining progress.
To maintain momentum, the HOA established committees focused on sustainability, safety, and education. Initiatives like recycling programs, neighborhood watch groups, and tutoring sessions for children underscored the community's commitment to continuous improvement. Emily Harper's journey from a homeowner defending her rights to a community leader exemplified the impact of perseverance and unity. Evergreen Hills' story became a testament to the power of collaboration, resilience, and the enduring spirit of community.